Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the regularly scheduled meeting of the Board of Public Works for today, Wednesday, July 13th, 2016.
Commissioner Davis, James, Repenning, and Jacinto are present. President James, we have a quorum. May we start with Bureau introductions, please, starting with Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Tim Tyson, Bureau of Street Services.
Good morning, Chris Enriquez, Bureau of Street Lighting.
Good morning, Barry Berggren, Bureau of Sanitation.
Good morning, Udi Jimenez, Bureau of Engineering.
Good morning, Hannah Choi, Bureau of Contract Administration.
Good morning, Ted Jordan, Public Works General Counsel.
Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. President James, we did not receive any speaker cards under general public comment. We do not have any commentary under the neighborhood councils, and we did receive a speaker card under item number 8 for today's agenda.
Okay, then we'll close general public comment as well as the neighborhood council category of commentary. And our first item of business will be the approval of the meeting minutes from the meeting of Friday, June 17th, 2016. Is there a second to my motion to approve those meeting minutes? By Commissioner Jacinto and Repenning. Any objection? Without objection, those meeting minutes will be approved. A couple of housekeeping items. Our presentation that's on the agenda for today will be postponed to a date to be agendized later. And agenda items, and Mr. Ledoux, just work with me on, make sure I get the right ones. Agenda items 3, 4, and 5, all from Council District 9, or related to Council District 9, we will be continuing until Friday, July 22nd, 2016, to enable additional meetings with the council office at their request. So Mr. Ledoux, is the Friday, July 22nd okay? Okay. Colleagues, is that okay? Okay, so that'll be the continuance on agenda items 3, 4, and 5. Agenda item number 1. Just see if I have any other housekeeping items here. I don't. Agenda item number 1. Bids will be received for the following public works project: for Hyperion Treatment Plant Headworks Improvement and Headworks Odor Control Upgrade. Estimate $24,075,000. That's in Council District 11. And there's a second one listed here from North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit 6 and Unit 7. Unit 6 is Hooper to Wilson. Unit 7 is Wilson to LA River. Estimate $18,230,700. Council Districts 9 and 14, Mr. Campos.
President James, Fernando Campos, Executive Officer. The bid scheduled for today for the first project for the Hyperion Treatment Plant Headworks Improvement and Headworks Odor Control Upgrade was modified to be open to July 28th, and that is, July 27th, Wednesday, July 27th.
So we're not opening those bids today.
We are not opening up those bids.
Okay, so the agenda lists it, so that should be stricken from the agenda. Thus the reason we only have one sheet. All right, so the North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Project in Council Districts 9 and 14, those are being opened today, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
The first bid to be received for the second project, which is for the North Outfall Sewer Rehabilitation Unit number 6 and Unit number 7. This is in Council District 9 and 14. The first bid to be received is from Spinello Companies for a total bid amount of $17,099,197. That is 17099,197 from Spinello Companies. For the record, line item 23, line item 25, and the total bid amount have been crossed out but initialed by the contractor. The second bid received for the second project is from Mladen Butich Construction Company, Incorporated. My apologies if I didn't pronounce that correctly. For a total bid amount of $17,724,501 even. That's 17724,501. For the record, line item 53 has been lined out and initialed by the contractor. Again, this is from Mladen Buntic Construction Company, Incorporated. The third bid received for the second project is from JR Pipeline Company, Incorporated. For a total bid amount of $17,245,196 even. That's 17245,196 from JR Pipeline Company, Incorporated. The fourth and final bid for the second project is from Colich & Sons, LP, for a total bid amount of $26,795,738 even. That's 26795,738 from Colich & Sons, LP. President James, that concludes the bid openings.
All right, is there a second to my motion that we receive the bids forthwith by Commissioner Repenning? Any objection? Without objection, the bids will be received. Thank you, Mr. Campos, Ms. Carter, and Kumi. Bureau of Engineering, agenda item number 2, in Council District 1, recommending that the board authorize the Los Angeles Department of Transportation, upon request of the city engineer, to draw a demand in the amount of $314,671.28, payable to American Hang Seng Enterprises, that's the relocatee, in connection with the North Spring Street Viaduct Widening and Rehabilitation Project Phase 2, right-of-way number 33795, Sam Wong.
Sam Wong, Bureau of Engineering, Real Estate Division. This board report is to authorize payment to American Hang Seng in the amount of $314,671.28. This payment is to compensate American Hang Seng for packaging materials that needed to be destroyed because of their move from this location at North Spring Street. We purchased this property because the project is going to demolish this building and create a public street in the location. The relocating found a location in South El Monte. Once they moved, all these packaging materials that they had in their possession were no longer usable because of the regulations regarding the packaging had to have the location where they were at, the city, and the zip code. So therefore, once they moved, they had to no longer use these materials, and by the Uniform Relocation Act, these items were eligible for compensation from the agency, which is ourselves. That's why we were asking to pay them for this payment.
I only have one question before we go to my colleagues. Mr. Jordan, any issues that you have with this at all?
No, we have no issues with this.
Okay. Commissioner Jacinto?
Thank you, President James. Sam, thank you for the report. The packaging materials were printed already. They weren't printed after the right-of-way acquisition was initiated, correct? They were existing.
Well, actually, the relocate had known for quite some time that they were going to be asked to relocate from this location, so they had ample time to use up as much of their packaging material as they could before they moved. Actually, when we first started talking to them, they actually had more than this. What this company does is they import tea and other types of dietary supplements in bulk packaging, and they repackage it such as small packages or one-time use packaging, and that's why all the materials they had there was available to them to repackage their items. After we acquired the property, they were not able to move immediately because their new facility was not ready, so actually it was good for us because that gave them more time to use up some of their packaging materials. During our negotiations with them, which were friendly, they didn't contest us at all. I mentioned to them very early on to stop ordering more packaging material because I knew that once they moved, the packaging material would become obsolete.
Okay. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Commissioner Cento. Anything else, anyone? Is there a motion on number 2 by Commissioner Cento? I'll second it along with Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 2. Any issue sending number 2 forthwith? We'll send number 2 forthwith. Thank you, Mr. Wong.
Thank you.
Let's go to agenda item number 8. There's a speaker card on number 8. Council District 12 Above Ground Facility Appeal, 6726 North Capistrano Avenue. Commissioner Cento recommending the board deny Apostolos and Ann Agrios' appeal of the Bureau of Engineering's determination to locate the above ground facility adjacent to 6726 North Capistrano Avenue with a condition that the proposed AT&T California cabinet be placed at a location to line up at the west side of their gate on Welby Way. Mr. Ledoux, let's start with you to summarize us and bring us to where we are, and we'll hear from, we have a speaker card from Ann Agrias. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Jeff Ledoux. I work for the Bureau of Engineering, U-Permit AGF section. This is a proposed AT&T high-speed internet cabinet. It is placed on Welby Way. The address of the property is 6726 North Capistrano Avenue. It's in CD12, and they're remaining neutral on this. Basically, we've got an appeal from the property owners. It is a rental property. They do not live there. And their tenants objected to the cabinet, which was being across from their kitchen window. They said they did not want to see it and would possibly move out. Also, the owners stated that it could possibly devalue the property and possibly be a tripping hazard for pedestrians. We did do a site visit out there with AT&T, and essentially the cabinet is 18 inches from the curb, so it's about 6 inches, about 6 feet between the cabinet face and the wall of the property, and it's about a foot or two away from the sidewalk, so it's not really much of a hazard to pedestrians there. As far as the kitchen window sits about 6 feet back from a 6-foot-high cinder block wall. Whether it can be readily seen from the kitchen window or not, I don't know. It wouldn't be real easy to see. We looked at the other properties around it. The property that's beside there, unfortunately, it cannot go there. There's a huge storm drain, there's a driveway, there's trees. And the other properties that are across the street, it is the front of those properties, but it could go across the street from where it's proposed. These houses sit way back on the lot, and they're sort of L-shaped with the garage being the closest to the street. And if the cabinet was placed between two of the properties, it would minimize the impact if it was placed across the street. But once again, that alternative is in front of those properties, so it's not a great alternative, but it is an alternative. Where it is proposed being placed is the side of that property. And we did have an appeal hearing with Commissioner Jacinto on May 2nd, and at that time the appellants did suggest a compromise, and that was to move the cabinet to the left somewhat so that it was out of line with the kitchen window, and there's a gate there, and it would be placed on the left side of the gate. AT&T accepted that compromise and did go ahead and redraft plans to place it there, and I did check with the appellants if that was okay, and they objected to it being quite that close to the gate. A problem is that if we move it any more left, there's a huge tree there, and so we would end up with major root interference if it got moved any further in that direction. So at this point, the proposal is to put the cabinet to the left of the gate. Basically, the edge of the cabinet lines up with the left edge of that gate, but it is about, like I said, 6 feet away from it as far as from where the gate is to where the curb and the cabinet will be faced. So it won't interfere with the opening of the gate or anyone going in or out of the gate. And but like I said, that alternative was rejected by the appellants, and that's where we now stand.
Well, it was rejected by the appellants, but
They originally
it
said...
originated as a result of a compromising discussion with the appellants, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Any questions of Mr. Ledoux before we go to our speaker? Thank you, Mr. Ledoux. We may come back to you. Ann Agrios, and you can correct me. I'm sorry if I
Thank you, Your
got it
Honor,
wrong.
for giving me the opportunity to speak again. Yes, I can express I requested to move it from the window, the kitchen window, and we moved it all the way, I said to the left, but right now I'm so close to the gate, so when the gardener goes with all the equipment, that would be also a hazard. I still have a property left. I can go all the way to the left. I'm saying okay for AT&T to put it all the way to the left, or I brought photographs to put it all even between the two properties. There is a place that can be placed.
So when you say all the way to the left, do you mean beyond the tree?
It's right now. I have a photograph that is on the gate. Right. The next photograph shows my property, and it has from the gate all the way to the end.
Yes.
I have property left. They can put it all the way to the left. I'm not declined. I'm just saying not on the gate, not on the window, kitchen window, not on the gate, but put it all the way to the left. And I'm saying okay with that. Or let's go next door. I took pictures from the next door also. There is a place for the next door between the two properties. There's another picture there that shows two.
Right.
So I'm not declined. I totally understand for AT&T, but I'm on Social Security. That is income for me, and I need to have the income, and I don't need to have future hazards for the property. That's my concerns. And thanks again for giving me the opportunity to come down.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Ledoux, any questions for Ms. Agrios before we...
No, Mr. Ledoux.
Yeah, Mr. Ledoux, regarding Ms. Agrios' suggestion that the box move, farther down the property, just on the other side of the tree, there's a gutter there, but beyond the gutter, there's no gutter or drain. I'm sorry, or drain.
Let's see. What we're talking about here is once you go to the other side of the tree, you do have a driveway, and it would be the downside of the driveway, meaning if you're backing out, it's in the lane that the traffic would be coming at you with, so it could do some problems with visibility backing out of the driveway. Because once you're on the other side of the tree, essentially you're very close to the property line between their property and their neighbors. And like I said, you do have the tree there, and then you've got a short distance before you're hitting that driveway. And then after that driveway, there is, on their neighbor's lot, there is a tree between their driveway and then a huge storm drain. So it's problematic to move it to the end of their property simply because there's only so much space between the tree that's there and the driveway. It wouldn't have been so bad if it was what called the upside of the driveway. In other words, the cars in the other lane when you're backing out. But in this case, you'd have a driveway, and the first lane of traffic is the one that's coming at the driveway. So when you move it close to a driveway, if someone's backing out, the cabinet has some problems with visibility with the cars that would be coming at them.
Okay, Commissioner Cinto.
Thank you. Jeff, I just want to confirm within that sweet spot or that down to the other side of the tree within that area that there is a potential, even though it's a small space, considering any safety issues or regulations that we want to comply with this as well. Is there space on that downside?
I believe there is. Let me look at one of my pictures here, the overview of this thing.
If it's a matter of feet, if it's a matter of cutting it close.
We might have to go out there to look at that, but I do have an overview picture.
Ms.
of
Agrios
that.
indicates that there is. She's nodding her head. There is, ma'am? Okay.
Okay, what I would want to confirm is we're not bypassing any safety regulations for
Sure.
egress or coming out, and that there is, so I would want to verify that.
Yeah, there's enough room as far as well, I won't say that because I would have to measure it because that is a mature tree that's sitting there. It probably has large roots, and I'd have to measure that space to know exactly how wide it is because normally when you got a mature tree, we try to stay about 10, 15 feet away from the mature tree, its roots, and I doubt that there's that much space between the tree and the driveway.
My gut, Commissioner Cento, I would go with you on this. I'd like to give it a shot.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because it's an opportunity for a compromise. I know it's a bit more work. We've got to go back out and look at that, but that's what we do. And
so you want us to go back out there and look at the logistics?
I'd like to see if we can work out that, as Commissioner Cento just described and Ms. Agrios had indicated, it's still an opportunity for a compromise, which we like to get to whenever we can, and then we'll you can tell me if you want to put it on the 22nd when we have the other ones. Okay. You can, as long as that's okay with your ability, Ms. Agrios, to come to City Hall as well. Sorry to have you maybe come again, but if it works out fine, then maybe you don't have to come back down. And if it doesn't, then we can hear it then. Okay. At that indication, you might want to talk to the representative from AT&T. Yes, sir? Yes, I'm sorry? Yes. Did you want us? You're entitled to speak if you'd like to, sir. Sure. I didn't know if you wanted to speak to Mr. Ledoux or if you wanted to talk to the... Okay, go ahead, sir. Just give us your name and...
I'm John Johnston. I'm with AT&T Construction and Engineering Department. I'm not with External Affairs, who is a little more polished in their speaking, so apologize for my...
You're doing just great. Go ahead.
My roughness. In this case, we met with the commissioner back in May, and we reached a compromise at that point to locate it where we moved it to near their gate. We don't normally put things near gates, and we confirmed that, are you sure this is okay to put near the gate? They assured us that it was. We made that design change, we sent pictures, and they rejected it for whatever reason. So we did reach out and we did compromise. The location, our initial location and the compromise location both comply with the AGF ordinance. And we would like to proceed with this under the guise that we have already reached out and compromised. We've been at this for many months now, and we would like to move forward with this project where it's at, still in compliance with the AGF ordinance.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any questions for him? Okay, thank you. Mr. Ledoux? Anything you want to add in response to?
No, not really.
Okay. I hear you, sir. I still feel the same way. And I appreciate AT&T's attempt to compromise, and I recognize that. But I still feel like I've got a window of opportunity to reach a compromise that's satisfactory to the property owner, and I've got to, at least my thought is, I've got to take that opportunity because the property owner is indicating that there's still a shot, and it sounded possible in the dialogue between Commissioner Cento and Mr. Ledoux and myself. So my recommendation, while I hear you, would be to continue it one more time for this one more shot, and then if we don't succeed there, then we'll make a decision, recognizing that you've offered to compromise initially. Is that okay with? Okay, so then that's what we'll do. Thank you everyone for your participation. We'll put this, Jeff, to Friday, July 22nd, 2016, and I think that'll give everyone time to see if Commissioner Cento's possibility with Ms. Agrios works out. Okay, thank you. Agenda item, let's go to agenda item number 3. Oh, that was continued. 3, 4, and 5 were continued. Mr. Ledoux, you might still be here on number 6. No, you're here on number 7. While you're up there, we'll go ahead and take number 7. Above ground facility appeal, 4205 North Bellingham. Avenue. This is in Council District 2. Commissioner Jacinto recommending the board deny John Cook II's appeal of the Bureau of Engineering's determination to locate the above-ground facility adjacent to 4205 North Bellingham. No speaker card on number 7. Mr. Ledoux.
This is once again is AT&T's high-speed internet cabinet. It is adjacent to that 4205 Bellingham Avenue. It's actually on the Valley Spring Lane side of the property. The appellant in this case, John Cook, actually is not the adjoining property owner. His property actually sits beside where this cabinet is going. His appeal reason, he says his property is overburdened with large speed bumps, sign, telephone poles loaded with equipment. We did go out there and look at it. The speed bump is over on the intersecting street. His property has it's fairly clear, to tell you the truth, from the photos that I have. Also, the cabinet is probably, we measured it somewhere at least 15 feet away from the edge of his property. The cabinet is in front of a large, basically 6-foot wall. In fact, I have probably a good photograph here that the commissioners can look at. It shows where the cabinet would be placed, and it shows you the logistics. The only other site, I mean, it could be put at another location, which basically isn't as good as the one that was proposed. It would be a lot more open.
Do we not have we don't have opposition from the adjacent property owner?
No, we do not.
Well, then I don't know why we would open up a whole nother process by...
Yeah, because, I mean, it's proposed there. It's the abutting property owner that is appealing it. So the only alternative would be to place it across the street, and it could go across the street from where it's proposed. But that property is really open. There's nothing hiding it there. It's a lot more intrusive to the neighborhood as a whole. So although it could do it, I wouldn't necessarily recommend. In fact, I'll show you what it looks like. Where it's proposed, there's a big utility pole and a tree, so it somewhat hides it from one direction. So I don't see the alternative as being advantageous as the actual proposed location.
Well, and you may draw an objection from the adjacent property owner and Mr. Cook. So, Commissioner Jacinto, I'm inclined to. Is your recommendation still the same?
It is. I just appreciate the staff for doing that due diligence to understand where's the best optimal placement. Once we start to kick this or to move it around, it extends the process time, and it deters or impedes the progress of the build-out. So this is the best place.
I would agree. Any questions at all? Is that a motion, Commissioner Jacinto? I'll second it. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number, I think we were on number 7. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 7 forthwith. Number 8 we have done. Number 9, Mr. Ledoux, while you're there. Council District 4, above ground facility appeal, 403 South Mansfield Avenue. Commissioner Jacinto recommending the board deny Anthony Peccione's appeal of the Bureau of Engineering's determination to locate the above-ground facility adjacent to 403 South Mansfield. Mr. Ledoux on number 9.
Okay, once again, we have an AT&T high-speed internet cabinet. It is placed on the 4th Avenue side of 403 South Mansfield Avenue, CD4 David Reyes, is remaining neutral on this. We did have a site visit to this particular one. There is a alternate. It would be across the street and the next lot down. It doesn't necessarily offer any advantages. The appeal letter did not state why he was appealing it, but in the appeal hearing, he stated that it would interfere with his driveway. And when we went out there and looked at it, we couldn't see where it would interfere with his driveway because it's really not that close to it. In fact, I will show you a picture of that. You can see where we marked the proposed site, and you can see where his driveway and garage is. And that was the only reason that we had for this appeal, and that reason came out in the actual appeal hearing. This is the across the street where it could possibly go. But that site holds no advantage over the proposed site. You can see it's fairly open.
Sorry, that's the driveway picture, Mike. That's the alternative. Okay.
And that's about it.
So I agree with your assessment that it's almost 30 feet away from the driveway. It's not going to interfere with the use of the driveway. Was there any issue raised about line of sight from the driveway?
No, there wasn't. And given where it is, it's really open around the driveway, so it wouldn't cause
There's
any
no shrubbery or
visibility
anything like
hassles.
that. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Anything additional to add, Commissioner Cinto, on this? Is there a motion on this, Commissioner Cinto, to deny the appeal, seconded by Commissioner Davis? Any objection? Without objection, we will do so on number 9. Any issues sending it forthwith? We'll send number 9 forthwith. Mr. Ledoux, I think that handles your items for today. Thank you, sir. We'll see you on the 22nd. Let's go back to agenda item number 6. We have a tree removal. Council District 2, 7937 and 7955 North Lindley Avenue in Council District 12, recommending that the board find that the tree removal classifies as operation, repair, maintenance, or minor alteration of existing street, sidewalk, and gutter involving negligible or no expansion of use beyond that previously existing and does not involve the removal of a scenic resource. Find that the action is exempt under Article 3, Section 1, Class 1, Category 3, existing facility, sidewalk repair or maintenance of the City of Los Angeles Environmental Quality Act guidelines from 2002. Find that none of the exceptions to the use of a categorical exemption as set forth in Section 15300.2 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines apply. And 4, review and approve this request for a no-fee removal permit for 4 tulip trees for the reconstruction of an off-grade sidewalk. Tree replacements are required. Mr. Tyson. There you are right in front of me, and I was wondering where Mr. Tyson was today.
Incognito maybe today. Good morning, President James.
Incognito on the front row.
Yeah. Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau Representatives, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. Bureau of Engineering contacted Bureau Street Services. This is under the sidewalk repair program, and this is a Department of Disability site. And at this site is the, Therapeutic Living Center for the Blind.
Okay.
The sidewalks are in a state of disruption. As you can see in the photos, the tulip trees were planted years ago, and they put in the tree grates inside the 4x4 wells.
Yeah, you might share those photos with us.
You don't have those photos?
No. I was briefed on it, so I've seen them, but
So on Lindley, there's a 7-foot sidewalk, and they put in 4x4 tree wells when they did this, which leaves a 3-foot short little 4-foot wide section of sidewalk that's 3 feet wide on the back sides of the trees towards the property. What we're recommending is we put in a new 7-foot sidewalk, and we put in 3x5-foot wells. So laterally, they'll be 5 feet, and into the sidewalk 3 feet, which will give plenty of room for root expansion. Obviously, it's only a 3-foot wide well, so we're recommending the replacement trees here be crepe myrtles, which will be very sustainable. On the end of the block, we actually have another site that we can plant one of the replacement trees. So actually, all replacement trees will be going right back at the site. There is one well that is missing a tree, and there's 2 extra positions that were never planted. So all the trees will be able to be replanted at the site. There have been no objections from the council. The sidewalks are in disrepair, and they do need to be serviced, especially if you are a blind person and you are trying to get in and out of the facility.
any questions on agenda item number 6? Commissioner Repenning?
Hi, Tim. So this is part of our sidewalk repair program.
Yes.
And it's one of the ADA locations.
Yes.
The only question I have is about the maintenance, the watering. I see that the contractor is going to water until OCB is able to step in. How is that going to work, and is this something that, is this indicative of what's going to be happening at the other locations for the sidewalk repair program?
I'm not positive how they're going to continue this and work it all out. I haven't been informed yet, but as far as this is saying, they will be the watering the trees, the BOE contractor, until at such a time the Office of Beautification takes over these contracts. And at this date, I don't believe that's happened, as that's what's being stated here. And I know that there's been a couple of other ones I brought before the board which stated the same thing. So I would have to look into that and get with BOE and find out where we are with that.
So is the watering part of the contract for the repair? Do we know?
This is the contract, and it states that they will be watered by BOE until the time, such a time that it's contracted out to either through the Office of Beautification or we'll ensure the trees get watered.
Okay. That's all I care about.
If we have to make sure, we will make sure.
Okay. I'm grateful for the 2-to-1 replacements here. Thank you.
And Commissioner Fernando Campos, Executive Officer, our office will work with Tim Tyson with Bureau of Street Services to make sure that the trees get watered, and we'll figure out the details in terms of funding and who does the maintenance of the trees.
Okay, great. Thank you.
President James.
Yes. Commissioner Cento, I'm sorry.
Tim, just want to thank you. This is where the settlement is hitting the implementation of it. A couple of things. One, it's a large canopy tree, so we're losing that canopy. We understand that's going to be an impact of the program, so we have to plant more trees. So the 2-to-1 replacement program is so important. You know, the fact that we have city plans to be able to plant more trees and just to compensate for that loss of canopy is really, really important. And that we have a 20% set aside, so this is exactly what we need to be doing. But we need to plant more so that we can make up what is lost.
We will need to continually plant trees forever because there is always a certain loss of tree life. And if we want more canopy cover, we got to plant double what we're doing, and that's actually what we're doing here. And I think that 20 years from now, it'll be a big change in how many trees we have, but it's going to take some time.
Thank you, Mr. Tyson. Anything else on this agenda item? Okay. I'll make a motion that we adopt agenda item number 6. Is there a second? By Commissioner Davis. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 6. Any issue sending it forthwith? We'll send number 6 forthwith. Commissioner Penning? They're back.
I just wanted to take a moment to say hello to our friend John Chodanko and his little girl, who we're a little bit late with the baby certificate from the mayor, but we have it. She's 2 now. Is she 2? All right. In October she'll be 2, but this is to celebrate her arrival a little bit late. Charlotte Drake Chodanko. Come on down.
I'm not sure. Wait. Hang on. Oh, picture. Thank you, everyone. Agenda item number, number 10. Bureau of Sanitation and the Office of Community Beautification, Council Districts 8, 9, and 15. And before I go to number 10, Mr. Roch, on the, from Office of Community Beautification, on the discussion that we had a moment ago on number 6 on the watering of those trees, I didn't ask if you had anything you wanted to add. I should have. Anything you want to add on that at all, or? It was just the kind of the pass off from to an OCB contractor when one is essentially in place. Am I right about that, Tim? Or did I miss something?
Yeah,
there?
I think I was out during that particular agenda item, so I didn't
Okay,
hear
well,
the,
there's Commissioner Penning had a couple of questions about the watering, so why don't you guys just speak offline?
Okay, we'll do that. But we are working with Commissioner Penning on various options for the OCB contractors to utilize, hopefully fairly soon in the future, some of the recycled water from DWP, and for those contractors that are close to the purple pipes to make that available to them. So we are working on that.
Great, thanks. I just, with the opportunity of you sitting there, I thought I might just throw it out there. Thank you, sir. So agenda item number 10, Council Districts 8, 9, and 15. Recommending that the board, there's a lot here, so bear with me and I'll get through the requirements for our notice on the agenda. Approve and forward the report with its transmittal to the City Council with the recommendation that the City Council, subject to the concurrence of the Mayor, authorize the Director of the Bureau of Sanitation or his designee to apply for, accept, negotiate, execute, and submit all grant documents, including but not limited to applications, agreements, and amendments, subject to the approval of the City Attorney as to form, which may be necessary to receive funding, if awarded a grant, from the State of California Natural Resources Agency for the project Trees for South LA, mitigating the effects of the 110 freeway, not exceeding the amount of $500,000. Number 2, request the City Council, subject to concurrence by the Mayor, to adopt the accompanying resolution authorizing the submission of the grant application to the State of California and appointing the Director of Sanitation or his designee to conduct all negotiations, execute and submit all documents, including but not limited to applications, agreements, amendments, payment requests, etc., which may be necessary to carry out the purpose of this resolution in compliance with the Natural Resources Agency requirements to complete the project and expend grant funds prior to June 30th, 2022, if awarded the grant. Number 3, authorize a loan from the Public Works Trust Fund, Fund 834, if awarded the grant, in the amount of $500,000 to front fund the project. Fund 834 will be paid back as the grant proceeds are received on a cost reimbursement basis. Number 4, request the City Council authorize the Board of Public Works to approve the Office of Community Beautification to amend Contract C124509 or newer 2016-17 contract with tree planting groups to increase the contract ceiling by $500,000 and to extend either contract to cover the grant implementation period ending June 30th, 2022, if the grant proposal is funded. Number 5, request the Board of Public Works to authorize the work up to the grant amount, which would be $500,000 if funded. Number 6, authorize the Director of Accounting to appropriate $500,000 from the Public Works Trust Fund, Fund 834, to the Environmental Affairs Trust Fund, that's Fund 537, Department 50, new account, for South LA Trees 110 Freeway, and to make payments to the LA Conservation Corps or a new contractor and for sanitation's expenses. Number 7, authorize reimbursements from the state to be deposited into the Environmental Affairs Trust Fund and subsequently to be transferred back into the Public Works Trust Fund. And number 8, request the controller to make any technical corrections as necessary. Melinda Bartlett. Good morning.
Good morning, Board President, Commissioners, Board Executives, City Attorney, and Executive Officer. I'm here requesting authority to move forward with a grant for $500,000 to plant 1,200 trees in South LA in a 3-mile radius that surrounds the 110 freeway. And we would like to include within the grant 100 4x6 tree well cuts to allow for trees in our hardscaped areas on some of the major boulevards. We're looking at portions of Broadway and Hill. They both need it desperately. And the remainder of the trees would be in the communities adjacent. We would also include funding for 150 trees to be watered. So at that point, that would be the 100 trees in the cuts and 50 more that would be parkway trees in areas that have low-income housing or places, multifamily, that we tend not to be able to find somebody who will agree to water them there. This project would start probably September 2017, somewhere along there, and we need the tag end to make sure that watering occurs through June 2022.
Any questions for Ms. Bartlett at all?
I think you've done something similar before in terms of your target for areas that don't have adequate canopies, and I just wanted to compliment the work that you're doing in these targeted projects and think that they're very needed specifically in areas of South LA. So I commend you for this project and think it's very good for the city.
Thank you.
Commissioner Penning.
I just want to echo Commissioner Davis. I'm a huge fan of the work that you're doing. You are a champion for our environment, particularly in underserved neighborhoods. Our latest project that you worked on, the tree planting on Vermont, that we all celebrated this spring, was great. We had a chance to take Mary Nichols, the head of our California Air Resources Board, which through the Cap and Trade program funded that project on a van ride all up and down, and just seeing the extent of the impact that that project had, it was amazing. And seeing that they're currently in Sacramento, figuring out the future of the program and knowing that we had a chance to show what we can do in LA in these neighborhoods, given the chance. I hope that this grant comes through and you have our full support for everything you're doing. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Ms. Bartlett, I would add, thank you for all the work in getting us to the point today to be able to approve this and getting it here by today. We appreciate that. We know it was no easy task.
Thank you.
Anything else? So Commissioner Penning, is that a motion? Okay, seconded by Commissioner Davis and myself. Any objection? Without objection, we'll adopt agenda item number 10. We'd like to send this forthwith. Any object? Any objection? No objection. We'll send it forthwith. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we have cleared the desk. Mr. Campos, have we done so?
This takes you to item 11.
Oh, there's an oral report. Right. Sorry about that. Mr. Garcia, I almost forgot. You're sitting right there in front of me, just like Mr. Tyson. For some reason, I can't see the front row today. Quarterly status report on the Clean Streets Initiative from the Bureau of Sanitation. Pappy Garcia, go ahead, sir.
Good morning, President James, Commissioners, Bureau heads, City Attorney, Executive Secretary. Well, Clean Streets Los Angeles, I think the initiative is gone, so I guess the new name is Clean Streets Los Angeles. Anyway, we continue to make
Now I
every
know.
we continue to make every effort to provide excellent customer service and seeing the type of work that we do and what's being asked and requested of us to do on a daily basis. Try to balance out mayor requests, council requests, other agencies, other departments, along with constituents and the app and all the volume of calls that we get in, and managing all that for illegal dumping and homeless encampment cleanups. It's taken a world it's a world by itself. So, but we continue to do that. Just to kind of give you the last quarter, April, May, June, we probably picked up approximately 2,500 tons of material off the streets of LA. The biggest one being on CD7 at San Fernando Road. That was almost 450 tons of material that was removed from there. Reporting on the indexing, that's a program that's kind of taken its own little baby steps as it's being, the data is being gathered and it's being assessed, and the fine-tuning the expectations and the reporting process, and it's being done quarterly. Sidewalk receptacles, we've completed under Directive 8, we've completed deploying the 1,250 ALBs during the first phase, and we're currently, hopefully based on the indexing data, we'll be able to deploy the next phase, the next 1,250 ALBs throughout the city, assessing the needs based on the litter assessment. And so what's coming in the future? We're working closely with ITA, ICSD, Clean Streets LA, OCB, LASA, to improve the data gathering and make My LA 311 the main deposit of all data. I'll be visiting you pretty soon because that whole authorization process will be taking a modern transformation and all that. But that's where we're moving. Actually, today is the training for the soft launch to see if we could run parallel systems and then eventually retire one and keep this one in My 311, so all that data will be together. That's basically it, if you guys have any questions.
I don't have a question, Mr. Garcia, as much as I want to thank you for the teamwork that it's taken to get from where we were just a year ago to where we are now. It's remarkable, and we are, in many ways, with this program, a national model. It's a big deal. And it's taken, and the press it's gotten, it deserves. You know, with the rollout and the indexing system and everything that's happened around it. So congratulations and thank you. I know it's a very much a priority of the mayor, and it really was an example of all hands on deck. I know it was weekends, nights, overtime, and people just working really hard to get where we are now. We have a long way to go still.
We have a long way to go.
But it's a year old.
Well, I appreciate that on behalf of the Bureau, and it's taken a lot of, I've learned that there's a big learning curve, and it's never stopped. I don't even think I've crested over the top yet, and there's a lot to do, and there's a lot of ideas that we're trying to constantly improve, and in material and equipment and the type and how we approach things. So thank you very much.
Well, it was great teamwork. Commissioner Penning.
Sure, I just wanted to say thank you for everything you guys have been doing, Lloyd, as well. I know you're working hard. Leo always makes sure that I know how hard you're working. It's a big new area of responsibility, being accountable in a very public way for how clean our city is. It's beyond just servicing your routes, and it's a big new area for us. I know we're going to make progress, but I also know that the homeless issue is a big challenge for you guys that no one really anticipated. It's a big draw on our resources, and still working out with all the legal challenges regarding people's rights, and I know it's something that the department did not anticipate, but you're doing your best to get the job done. As far as Clean Streets, we put out 1,250 new cans, or well, they call them ALBs. They're not cans, but that's going to be a big difference in our city. When we're starting with, I think it was 4,000 citywide, we just added 25% of that, and so that's going to make a big difference. In addition to the new team that you have coming online, the new Clean Streets crew. I don't think it's up and running yet, but hopefully over the next few months we'll get that up and running. And then with the data, I know we have the next round of data coming in, and hopefully over the next year or so we can start to see a difference in cleanliness in our city. So it's a big job, and we're just going to stay focused, and I really appreciate you guys being willing to have the bar raised on you. Thank you.
Again, from the Bureau, I appreciate that very much.
Anything further? Thank you. Commissioner Davis.
No, I just wanted to echo Commissioner Repenning and thank you for the work that you do, and particularly, as you know, in South LA, we are extremely pleased about the work that we're doing to help manage the homeless encampments, and it's not it's not an easy task. It's difficult, and a lot of legal issues are involved in it. And what I want to say to you is that I hope, as a result of the work being done on the other end of the hall with the council and the proposed funding that is to come, that it will help also enhance and strengthen your work as well. So we look forward to the results of what council does and the mayor's office in terms of providing an even additional resource on what we know is certainly a huge problem.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The oral report will be received. Mr. Campos, have we now cleared the desk?
Now you have, yes.
Okay, then we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.